Okay, here I am in the basement of the Remillard dorm at Nichols College in Dudley, Massachusetts, and I'm here with two preeminent, this is not just gold, this is a plea, experienced, knowledgeable, lifelong, deeply entrenched barbershoppers. And oh, do I have questions. But first, would you please do me the honor of introducing yourselves so that I don't leave out any of your enormous resumes?
Why start with me? I've been seeing barbershop since 1982.
Okay.
And I started as a youth member as well. My mother's chorus is one of the her chapter chartered in the same year that Harmony Incorporated was established.
Oh.
So she wasn't the charter chapter, but she's in that singing by the first job. Yeah. So I call myself womb to tomb because she did that before she even had any kids or family or anything. So, in 1958, her chorus was established, and then she actually hosted the first Harmony Incorporated International in 1950, Vermont.
Uh-huh.
So I've been a member since '82. Little Voices in Harmony. We won international twice in 2014 and 2018. So, and we were second last year. It was even great.
Totally acceptable.
And we averaged A scores for the first time last year. It was amazing. So very pleased and happy with that. I've earned 2 international champion quartets, and in 2016 with our daughters and a good friend who was actually the tenor of Showcase. So she is the tenor in that quartet, called Taken for Granted, because we're from the Granite State of New Hampshire. So
perfect. And that makes you royalty with championships as a chorus director and in quartet and the family legacy.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about your spawn in a moment and the legacy there, but you didn't give your name.
Oh, sorry, Renée Tramack.
I'm Steve Tramack. I am a 43-year member of the Barbershop Harmony Society. I'm a 4th generation barbershopper. My great-grandfather started a chapter in 1946 in Pennsylvania. And I am a past chorus director and quartet singer. Most recently, I'm a musicality judge in the Barbershop Harmony Society. Renee's a singing judge in Barbershop Harmony Society and Harmony Incorporated. I'm the current chair of the contest judging committee and arranger. I also was the lead editor and one of the authors of the Arranging Barbershop series of the Barbershop Harmony Society and Hal Leonard published here recently. So yeah, and coach, do a lot of coaching as well. Yeah, but mostly I'm just kind of known as a dad and a husband.
Now the dad part is really cute because Stina Ray, you were very proud to be at Barbershop Harmony St. Louis 2026. For what reason? Maybe if you show swelshing, it was
My shirt is underneath, which is it's warm in here right now, so I'm going to take this off. But anyway, I'm not shedding all my clothing, just this top layer.
So what is it that you're wearing? You were wearing
the new version,
right? That are like, wait, GQ, I know them. They had a viral video when they were still in college.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then recently got a new bass just a couple of years ago, which often means the whole group gets shaken up. And what's going to happen with them? Well, what did happen with GQ? They
became the first non-male quartet champions in the 88-year history of the Barbershop Harmony Society.
Exactly.
They won the national claim.
Won first place.
Correct.
Unbelievable. And the ovation, you need to watch the video if you haven't. The ovation from the warmth from the audience was just like something. It's a sound you just don't normally hear. And it's because they are so beloved.
And so genuine. What you see on stage are the members of GQ. They are so authentic and so open and vulnerable and funny, and obviously very talented, but they are truly just genuine, wonderful people.
Yeah.
And that comes through, and it really feels like where you see some groups that try to perform to the audience.
Yeah.
They invite the audience in. 100%. It just feels like they invite everybody in, and when you see them perform, it's literally like watching them in the living room. But it's really
And so now let's switch hats. Take off your dad hat and put on your head of the contest judging for the Barbershop Harmony Society. They scored a perfect 100 from all judges, all performance judges in what was the same judges in the performance category for the rally.
correct. The song is called Mothers and Daughters.
Yes.
It's actually a song written in the last couple of years by a singer-songwriter by the name of Maddie Zahn.
Yes.
They found this song. They had Melody Hine, another
Female, great. Young female. Yeah, her dad's Clay Hine, famous arranger.
mother Becky Hine, director of song. Yeah, Rossio, a judge on Singing United, and now about to be in the Barbershop Harmony Society. Good best. So you had the mother-daughter relationship there with Melody and Arranger, and this song was one that really was it was magical for them. It really connected the storyline connected not just with mothers and daughters, but it connected with really everybody that has these familiar relationships and complicated relationships with their parents and relationships throughout singing. It really was very powerful and very touching.
The video of it online you have to watch. And something that's wonderful for me too is I've known them since shortly after they graduated college. So more 14, 15 years.
You had a cameo in that video.
I did. I was in a video with them. They asked me to be in one of their videos as a judge who wasn't entirely having it. So they knew I would play the part perfectly since I'd been an enormous champion of them for the longest time. But also Amanda was on staff at Camp Acapella for a number of years, is now a mom. So she's singing the song about mothers and daughters. So the storyline goes up to you and down to and the whole thing.
And Katie became a mother 2 months ago, has a baby girl, and is there in the audience. So at the very end, in the last A section of the song, both Amanda and Katie sing, and now that I have a daughter,
Right.
Anyways, it's just, it is authentic and real. And having seen them sing that about 150 times, I can tell you, I still cry every single time Amanda starts singing that part. And several times during that, because it's just so powerful and so real.
Well, that's what we want and we need. Barbershop is called the black belt of Oklahoma, the black belt of acapella. You don't have to sing it, but if you do, you're going to be better. I mean, there's no question. The pedagogy, the technique, the training, the education that happens within the organization, and the great books that are published, like you said, the arranger books or whatever, all fantastically valuable. The thing that worried me 10, 15 years ago, and the reason basically the leadership of the organization pulled me aside and said, like, come sit to our boards, talk to our board. You understand acapella, you understand the current situation and where the world is. Members are leaving. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And I said to them, this is going to be a hard one, but I'm going to give it to you honestly. The single gender thing, the all male thing, it's going to change. It's either going to change with a lawsuit and the organization will be sued, or you guys will get out in front of it. And I was a little bit shocked and so encouraged when Marty and the leadership then decided we're going to make this change. We're going to go out there. And there was a lot of blowback. There was a lot of frustration around maybe it wasn't handled like the communication, blah, 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 blah. Fine. But nobody had to change what they were doing. It's just to look at what's happening now. Smoke Ring is in the top 10, and I am seeing the 40th Harmony Sweepstakes, the 40th annual, which was great, and they won the whole thing there, and they're stunning. And you see that quartet walk up on stage, and you immediately know Barbershop is for everyone.
It truly is. And there was also Sunday Night Social was the first mixed ensemble to win a medal this year as well. I mean, there are so many.
Yes.
The ladies were in the top 10.
Yes, and they were before.
Yes, exactly. It's just incredible. And at the finals, after they won, GQ came out and they sang a song, which doesn't happen often. They sang a song, and the reason they sang the song was they said, we're now in an age when women are champions of the Barbershop Harmony Society, and Katie has a 2-month-old baby that depends on her for survival, so we're not sure what our night's going to look like. We would love to sing for as many of you as we can, but just in case we don't, we hope this is... Well, this is something that makes up for that.
So I'd like to toast to that. You poured us a nice, what is it, a French?
It's a Premier Cru.
Excellent. We'll take a sip and toast to GQ and the future of Barbershop Harmony, which is in very, very good hands.
Cheers.
So now, all this positive motion, all this positive momentum, and you both being multi-generational barbershop since you were kids. What's next? What needs to happen now? We're just here at this event, which was great. New England harmony for the adults, but there was a whole harmony explosion, shot some video, got half and half. We've been together a day and a half, and and it's saying fantastic. And just all the energy from the kids and Debbie Cleveland conducting them. So this whole barbershop, and so I feel like people are coming together and they're just saying, I don't care what organization I'm a part of. I don't care what voice party you say, whatever. Let's make this harmony thing work. Boy, does that make me happy.
Yeah, I think it's happening. And what we see is barbershop is taking root all over the world. There are 15 or 20 different places around the world with barbershop is finding that our organizations, there's a group in Poland that started. There are several choruses in Israel. There are groups in Australia. I just like the blended food. There's a chorus in Australia. That's India. I know those guys. Yeah, it is. It really is taking root everywhere. So, part of what I think is going to happen is having songs, arrangements in that are native to all of these countries, whatever, in the native tongue.
Yes.
Folk songs, songs that are familiar, that are easy to sing. It allows youths to form.
Yeah.
There's a push to make some of that happen, and start to find even like just arranging national anthems or arranging
Barbershop said.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% on board with that. And many people don't know, I quote this all the time. There are more women than men who sing barbershop, and there are more people who sing barbershop outside of the United States than inside of the United States. A statistic that blows many people's minds. They're like, wait, what? It's not just 4 white guys on Main Street at Disneyland with the straw hats on my underwear, and you proudly wearing your Disney. So I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question for you, and it's specifically to both of you as directors, as arrangers, as people understand the mechanics of it. And I'll do a little backstory for people who are watching this who don't necessarily know all that. We're trying to get too in the weeds with the music theory. The sound of barbershop and the development of what barbershop has been for the past 80 years is single gender. And in fact, if you go all the way back to the original quartets or whatever, back in the 1890s, 1900s, single gender. The melody is in the second from the top part, and it often digs down underneath where the baritones. The baritone and I think you can see where there's a hum challenge. Just go hum like SATB, don't like SATB. So it's not like everybody stays in their lane. Now, another thing that I told a Barbershop Harmony 15 years ago, whatever, was we need to get SATB repertoire out there, because the dominant paradigm for vocal harmony in schools, in community choirs, whatnot, is soprano, alto, tenor, bass.
It absolutely is a challenge, and we are seeing a number of different combinations of voices. Now, for example, our kids sang in a quartet, and they were not SATB.
Sure.
They were more alto, tenor, baritone, right? So finding the fact that we're seeing all different combinations, gender combinations of ensembles, and also arrangements now they're passing the melody around between multiple voices. So, for example,
Still legitimate contestable shopping.
100%.
If it's inside voice.
And you can even allow the melody to move to outside voices as an embellishing device. So, for the bass, move it out there for 8 measures. For a half a burst or a half a chorus, and we can pass the melody around as long as it converges back to homorythmic texture and inside melody. And that could be either voicings. That's one of the ways that arrangers are starting to get around with that. They're passing melody, they're leveraging key changes, they're in order to, and a lot of arranging is being done specifically for ensembles and their voices. So,
which is great, but let's be honest, if you're going to have a polecat repertoire, and if you're going to be putting things in high schools, whatever, you need, here we go, we've got, tenors whose voices just changed, basses who can't sing that low, the women are better, let's be honest, and there are 3 times as many of them, like all of this stuff that's fundamental to choral music, and then there's community choirs, which is a different issue, and tons of altos and blah blah blah. Actually, the altos have an issue because the altos then often can sing more slower or whatever. Right. My theory around this and my pitch, I'm going to pitch this to you, is that when you're doing a standard barbershop voiced arrangement, if you're going to be keeping the melody lower, slating the lead, the harmonic series generally dictates that you have a low bass and you keep your 3 upper voices further away. Now, I know that's different from the fundamental nature of the close harmony single gender style, where the bass often will pop up to the 5th of the chord and things stay close and crunchy and whatever. Mm-hmm. But a lot of contemporary a cappella and a lot of other music, if you listen to Ladies and Baza, you listen to a lot of things, the bass really, there's a gap between the bass and the upper 3 voices because that's the harmonic series, and they can lock on to those overtones and ring chords much more easily. So my pitch to you, and shoot the sound, is to actually spread that, give more distance to the bass and put the melody in the place where the alto is actually more comfortable with the whole thing. And then it means the tenor is going to have to pop up periodically into falsetto, although more often, but the melody is key. The melody is the most important part, and you need to have those altos right in their comfy belt range. And
so I hear you, and it's really interesting because the more spread voicing styles in barbershop were quite popular back in the 60s and 70s when there were a lot of really low basses and a lot of falsetto tenors.
Right.
So you'd oftentimes find it, a 2-octave spread on those voices on a major triad. You'd find a lot of spread voicing. So, and quartets like Vocal Spectrum, you've got and really 3 tenors and a legitimate bass. So you see those kind of voicing, and in fact, those are some of the arrangements now that are catching hold in mixed ensemble because of this. Exactly.
And because it just aligns more with the harmonic series, which means chords will ring more easily. And the thing that, look, let's be honest. I've studied this. I've purchased books from the 1920s, 1930s before the societies even existed. Barbershop was 3 chords. It really was 1, 4, and 5 chords, occasional swipes, 7's less common than you would think. And if you go back and you listen to the early recordings and the unique quartet, the earliest recording, whatever, it sounds more like, the Dixie Hummingbirds, the Blind Boys in Alabama, because honestly, that morphed and it became black gospel, brilliantly black gospel.
Exactly right.
That's the tradition, that's the sound, and it's straightforward chords. And if you think about it mathematically, simpler chords would ring more. So why just drop these
strong voiced?
Exactly.
Coincident partials low on the harmonic.
Yep, we're on the same page. And of course, the reason that it's become so complicated and all these unbelievable arrangements that come out is because it's an arms race within these competitions. And then all of these regional quartets, local choruses, they want to sing. Oh, I heard this amazing arrangement by Give Me Fort. Let's sing Come Fly. I want to sing it out of Scott. I want to sing, Give Me David Wright. And then they start singing this stuff and they're like, 4 chord, constant harmonic changes, semitones, chromaticism. What am I going to do with this? So.
Yeah. And there's a real push right now in not only the arranging community, but also in the judging community, in the musicality category, to pay more attention to harmonic rhythm, to pay more attention to strong voicing, to pay more attention to kind of the fundamentals that make the lock and ring at barbershop, the rich harmonic and harmonic richness of dominant sevenths and dominant ninths and major triads on a variety of roots. Create that interest, but doing so following a harmonic rhythm that does exactly what you're saying, and is a little more achievable by a wider variety. So there is definitely a staple of Butterworth. I'm really glad to hear that. And quartets like O.C. Times have done an amazing job of that. They've introduced so much into the repertoire, of songs that are now achievable by a wide variety of groups and are fun to sing.
Bless them. Yeah. Because here's the thing. People say like, well, it's a good arrangement, not a good arrangement. Like these mere impossibilities. It's like having a middle school theater troupe do Shakespeare, Troy, or some Cressida. It's like, you can do it, but is it really going to be good? Like, they should do Romeo and Juliet, or why don't they do Annie? Take it back.
And I'll tell you that there are more people arranging in the barbershop style today than ever before. The Arranging Barbershop series, the first volume of that is really aimed at people who want to start arranging, but they may not know how to start. There are over 1,000 copies of that that are sold. It's great wine. It's great. And when you look at the list of arrangers from this past year's international contest, I think there were more than 60 or 70 arrangers who contributed songs, including a lot of, again, first-time arrangers in that. So it's incredible. So we're really finding where barbershop is not a genre of music, it's a style of arranging music that can be applied to multiple genres and a style of delivering music.
Yeah.
And so we see we always see convergence of Great American Songbook, classic jazz in the barbershop. But we're seeing GQ, 5 of their 6 songs were written since 2010.
Yeah.
And the old one was the Celine Dion, It's All Coming Back to Hang Out.
Oh, I know. That's an old song downsize, right? Sorry to say. It is. That makes me feel really old. I'm going to go take my Metamuse. So I say do that just to hear that. So that all sounds super exciting. And the average age of all of the people in the top 10 finishing quartets, that's got to be some kind of a recent record in age. They were young.
Yeah. Patrick McAlexander will be able to tell us specifically exact names.
So if you're fond of him, I know Patrick. If you're watching this, I want stats.
But absolutely, we see a youth movement, and we saw it here this weekend. Is that all of the people that were on stage talking about the fact that they got hooked in barbershop in high school, in college, at things like these Harmony Exploring camps.
Yeah.
And we just see the areas in North America and really across the world where barbershop is really taking root and growing quickly are where there's been a strong youth movement for a number of years. And that's now produced the next generation of leaders, the next generation of excitement around singing a cappella, singing barbershop, singing all styles of music. It's incredible.
It really is. Okay, so what don't we know? What's new? What's interesting? What's changing? What's shifting? What's happening in the barbershop world, in your world, in this region that isn't out there, that people don't realize, but it's coming down my horizon.
We don't know if I can answer that. I have no idea.
Well, there are. See, the problem is as the head of the judging committee.
Okay, well, things you're not allowed to say yet.
Right. Okay. I guess what I can say is that there is every 3 years the BHS contest and judging community goes through a recertification, and we are recertifying next week in Denver, and that's for Harmony. And one of the things that we're looking at is, and there's been a lot of discussion about how can we leverage technology more effectively to help provide more tools for our singers. So, for example, we've just produced, if you're familiar with the master class tetters, we've produced what we're calling the Judges Studio, which is a model after master class. It's about 5-minute videos, easily consumable on a phone, that have a very specific type of subject, very focused, but maybe a whole series of videos that are related. These, right now, there are about 50 videos that have been produced. Will quickly be over 100. This is going to be released to the barbershop community through BHS at some point in the future. But imagine a future where a performer coming out of a contest will be able to go onto their portal and not only provide information about what they're seeing and enter a contest, but be able to access more learning content, to be able to access their recordings from past contests and have that tied in to feedback the judges gave them and more learning opportunities. So just looking at ways that we can leverage technology to help provide better rehearsal techniques, help provide better learning, better feedback, and better experience.
It's great. There literally is no pedagogy out there in vocal harmony like there is in the barbershop world. Like if you're watching this, you're like, oh, that's all kind of interesting, but I don't know so much about it. Please go to barbershop.org and just dig around and come across, watch videos, look at materials, whatever. It's so smart. And go to a local barbershop rehearsal. Just listen and see how they craft things, how they think about things, and why they're ringing more chords than anybody else. Simple as that. Can I do one more cheers? You both are just such lovely people. I feel honored to have an opportunity to talk to you. And get a pleasure. We do this again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to those of you out there, cheers as well. Cheers. See you next time.